Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.
What's up, YouTube? It's me, Daniel, vintagemagic.com. Happy holidays. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving tomorrow. I wanted to make a quick video, just bored out of my mind, just doing errands. And I want to talk about this idea of being a millionaire and doing Magic the Gathering. And while it's really hard, why it's very hard to achieve that in today's market specifically. So, kind of like with any investing, I mean, it's always hindsight 2020, right? We oftentimes think, hey, I should have bought that card, or I should have bought Apple for $1, or Amazon, or, whatever. I should have done that. I should have done this, and you start realizing yourself, you have to make a move on certain investments early, and you have to decide from your budget what kind of risk level you're willing to go for, and actually most importantly, make that move to invest. And for Magic the Gathering, the prices, as many of you know, have gone parabolic over the years to a scale of, exponential, right, in many cases. Give you an idea, Alpha Black Lotuses back in, 1996 was like $600, something like that. Back in 2009, it was about 2,000 or so, almost 3,000 for a mint one. So do some math. The values have obviously skyrocketed over the years to exponential levels. But, many of us who are watching these videos, many of you guys are probably wondering well, Dan, the prices of these cards are so high already. How am I going to get in today's market? Is it even possible to make $1 million? I'm using $1 million, kind of a clickbait thing, but kind of the number we all mentally think about when we are investing. See, when you're investing in something, some people might be like, well, 10,000, 100,000, but $1 million, being a millionaire, right, is a dream of many, many people. And if you invest in something and you make $1 million off it, it really has this mystique, a club, that you've really made it. So I think in today's world, right, of today's environment, to really make $1 million, you're going to need more capital to actually invest in to make that $1 million. So for example, what's that number, right? What's that number of pricing? Well, I probably say if you're really going to make the money, you're going to have to buy collections, sell them over time, do a lot of trading, grading of the cards, and that process takes a lot more time than you think. And because the market's so advanced with investors, collectors, etc., players, there's a lot of competition out there. So that's another thing you're fighting against to make that $1 million. But I think, the healthy number would be I'd probably say $1 million. Let's say you had $1 million today, cash, to invest in Magic. You could probably make another $1 million in about a few years, 2 to 3 years, let's say. You're probably thinking, well, Dan, that sounds awesome. Why doesn't everybody do it? Well, it also takes a lot of expertise, skill, knowledge, and a brand name also that you have to grow. So that, by the way, is a very, I would say, accelerated process. Now, there are some cases where if you buy an alpha set really mint, beautiful singles that are really mint condition, and they get high grade. We're talking like BGS 10, Black Label, CGC 10 now, whatever. Those kind of cards could bring you to that number fairly fast, especially if you had an Alpha Black Lotus that got like a BGS 9.5. Those sell for anywhere from $350,000 to $500,000, here and there. If you got yourself a BGS 10, there's only one in the world, it would probably be worth about easily $2 to $3 million in today's value for sure, because it's a one of two. So I feel like those are obviously the home runs, which probably won't happen. And I say that very nicely in the sense that I know a lot of people believe that they're going to make $1 million. They have this mindset, and I agree. Your mindset matters a lot when you invest, but you also need to have realistic expectations of investing. If you don't have that, you're going to cause yourself to, be let down of the goals, the short-term and the long-term goals you have. And that sometimes reduces the morale, which causes you to make stupid decisions, to make, investments that aren't as, wise, and you just get greedy, and the whole principle that you had basically goes away. So be very careful about that. You don't want to be too aggressive, and you also want to make the right business decisions. Another reason why being a millionaire in today's market is the single market. The single market is extremely competitive, and it's a very saturated market. Right now, you're talking about there's an overall economy recession, supposedly, but there is a Magic the Gathering recession in general. Newer cards are not worth as much as they used to. There's a lot of distrust in Wizards itself. You also have, the older cards itself dropping, even the ABUs, right? Even Power 9 dropping double digits now, about 20 to 30% easily from the highs, of course. And with all that said, you might be thinking, well, it might be a great buying time if you can get into it. Remember what I said earlier. You're going to have to invest quite a bit of capital. And I put $1 million as the investment to get about 2 to 3 years to return of $1 million to get another $1 million. And that's very, very aggressive. I will say, let's say they have $100,000. And be sure, if you have a number below, put it down below, and I can give you some more thought process based on that number. But let's say you have $100,000. Will you be able to make $1 million, let's say, within 10 years? That's 10 extra money. I think that's possible, through like what I said before, collection buying, grading, building your brand recognition, doing shows, YouTube videos, etc. Right? You could do that. Be an entrepreneur, and any type of business is possible. I did it. You can too. But I think it's an uphill battle, right? There's a lot of issues with trying to grow that with only $100,000. Because the singles, as you guys know, is very, very expensive in today's market compared to before. So the capital that you have up front actually is diminished very quickly. And then you're in a position where you either hold product for a while, try to let it grow. You have to flip product, and you shorten some of that profit you could be making because you could be grading, etc. Or you could be grading those cards, and that prolongs the sales cycle, making the cards more valuable, but you also have a longer sales cycle, which means you don't get much cash flow to reinvest. So this is all like I don't know if you guys are following this. It's kind of like it's very delicate. The process is more delicate. Whereas back in the day, man, I got to tell you, like 10 grand, $10,000 went a long way. The margins, when I graded the cards, I would reinvest pretty much 100% into my business, buy more cards, more equity, make more deals, finally build brokering deals, finally bought artwork, artist proofs, built my business from the ground up, and diversified heavily. Maybe miscuts, misprints, sheets, whatever, right? Alters. It was the Wild West. So that's another point I want to make is the Wild West. You're fighting against the future. You already are at the future if you're investing, if you're watching the video right now, today. If I'm dead, you'll probably be thinking, what is this guy's talking about? Well, the reality is, I made millions of dollars off Magic myself. I mean, I have the credibility to prove that. But the reality is most people will never make $1 million in selling Magic the Gathering cards. It's stacked against you. Now, I am not discouraging entrepreneurs. I know I love entrepreneurship. I think it's one of the greatest unknown areas to most people until they actually get into it. Most people want to have a paycheck. They're willing to trade time in for money. But I think being an entrepreneur, you have that freedom, you have a lifestyle, and you have the kind of that, I made it. I did it myself. You have the, how would you call it? The greatest feeling in the world to make it, right, as an entrepreneur. So I don't think that being an entrepreneur in Magic is impossible to make $1 million, but I think it's highly unlikely in the sense that I think that if we're talking about percentages, I think the top 0.001% could actually be an entrepreneur to make $1 million in Magic the Gathering. Probably even I don't know. Is that correct? I guess I'm just using some numbers. I mean, what number am I using here? The population of players at 10 million. So let's see, 10% is, what is that? 10% is, oh my God, this is crazy. 10% is 1 million. 0.1% would be 100,000. 0.01 would be 10,000. 0.001 is 100? Yeah, is that right? Okay. My point is, 1,000, let's say, out of 10 million players or investors, collectors, will 1,000 make $1 million in Magic? I think that's possible. I think it's even less than that. $1 million. And let's make it even more difficult. How many people in Magic the Gathering are making $1 million per year on their W-2, or they could hide it in cash or whatever, but whatever, Bitcoin, etc., making $1 million. Now, you're going to probably say, well, Dan, a lot of people make $1 million through trading and equity. So they make $1 million through trades and deals they bought, but they're not realized. So for all purposes of this conversation to be accurate, I am referring to making $1 million on your W-2. That's your gross, and then you deduct whatever the hell you want, travel, food, Ferraris, I don't care, but you grossed $1 million of profit, right? And then how many actually make $1 million net, right? Let's say even more than $1 million, and you take away $1 million from all the tax. It's just, the whole thing is really difficult, right? And if you look at the United States tax brackets, I think for joint and also the joint brackets and also for individual sole proprietor, I want you to look at something, individuals. I want you to look at something very interesting. You'll notice that if you type in online, what is considered top 1%, top 0.01%, top 10%, 20%, America, whatever, and the ranges that you make, and then you look at the tax brackets that's there. The top tax brackets represent pretty much the people at the top 1%, if not 0.01%, easily in America. So if you look at Magic the Gathering as a much more niche market, and there's a lot more variance in my opinion. I think being top 1% is very difficult, let alone 0.01%, if not 0.001%, which I think being a millionaire, which is $1 million a year, is pretty difficult. All right, guys. Well, I just want to do the video. I got to go in and do more errands. I want to wish you guys a great, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are enjoying time with your family. And I sure am trying to be productive, but also be a good family man. Life is complicated, and life is exciting. Life is a blessing. Don't forget that. Live it like it's your last day. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.
Hey everyone, it's me, Daniel with VintageMagic.com. I want to share with you more about how we handle consignments. So to begin the consignment process, we actually need to start with the consultation service. In this consultation, I will determine what you're looking to do. And generally, consigners usually tell me, hey Dan, I'm looking to sell my items and maximize the value of their collection. After we determine through the consultation, I usually like to do an appraisal process. And an appraisal process in terms of a consignment is more fitted towards authenticity and valuation for current market values. From there, after a contract is crafted and signed, we will then receive the items from you. The reason why our consignment process is very thorough is we also identify cards that could be graded so then they can maximize higher dollar values. So the payment process is very simple. Once we have sold your items, you'll get an updated ledger and we will process payment for whatever form of payment you need. As a consigner, you're gonna experience our white glove service. What that means is I'm gonna personally handle your collectibles from beginning to end. And rest assured, the client that purchases your collectibles will also receive the same white glove service. It's a signature service that I really pride myself on in working closely with my clients.
Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.